Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I am bringing you a few books that I would like to read this summer. So summer for me is the months of June, July and August, and when I'm filming this it's a couple of days before you're going to see it. It is the 11th of June, so we're well into June now. Now normally in the UK, May and June are quite hot. Sometimes we have like an early summer in May through to the beginning of June, and then we head into like the real summer. I'm filming this on a day where it's very windy. It hasn't stopped raining for 2 days. It is absolutely freezing outside, and I was watching the news earlier and apparently we have had over 1 month's worth of rain since 6 p.m. this evening. However, this is the content that I had scheduled for today, so this is the content that you're gonna get. Now I'm wearing a winter sweater that I got out of the wardrobe this morning. I've already washed them, put them all away, didn't think I need them until at least October, but the weather has other ideas, so I at least put a bright colour on, so we have some semblance of summer in this dreary hell that I'm living in. So I normally don't do seasonal TBRs. At least a month ago I think now, I put out on Twitter that I was stuck for video ideas. Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction recommended that I do a summer TBR, and I was like, you know what, I don't normally do seasonal TBRs, but I do like doing TBR videos because while I'm picking out books that go with a theme, it kind of reminds me of some books that I've kind of forgotten about that I own or I wasn't thinking about, and then they're more at the forefront of my mind when I'm building things like my Bookopoly or readathon TBRs. So the way that I read in summer, I have noticed that I generally read a lot more in summer. I have a trampoline. I'm 26 and I still have a trampoline because that is what I like to sunbathe on. It is perfect for lying on and reading. So if you guys are struggling for ways to comfortably read in the sun, I would definitely recommend a trampoline. Mine is around 13 years old now and falling apart, but I gotta have my sun lounger. I generally read a lot more, and I also read a lot of genres that I don't normally read, and I've also kind of noticed that I read a lot of books that I don't necessarily love but are enjoyable to pass the time when I'm out in the garden. They're like fun summer reads, but a lot of them don't make it to my best books of the year. So the books in this video may not be what you expect from me. It is very light on the fantasy, extremely light. I think there's only one adult fantasy in this entire stack, but like I said, I do read different types of books in summer. Summer is just a huge palette cleanser for me, and obviously I do like things to be quite fast paced, so I tend to stray away from the heavier things. I'll maybe read like one heavier, more dense book a month, and everything else will be a lot more light and fun. So that being said, I've tried to split these books off into sections. This was only supposed to be a short video, but then I just kept pulling books off my shelves and we have 10 to talk about, so I'm going to try to get into it as soon as I stop rambling. But a lot of these are contemporary, which you're not used to from me, but that's what we've got. So first up is the exception to everything else on here. This is one that I did not pull down because it is a summery read and it reminds me of summer, and I think it's something I'll enjoy this summer. This is because I already planned on reading this. I've planned it months in advance that I will be picking up this book series throughout July, August and September, and that is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. So this is the first book in the Nevernight Chronicle. The final book, Dark Dawn, is out in September, and I generally reread series. If I haven't read the other books in that series in the space of the last year, I will reread the entire series in anticipation for a new release. I spent the entirety of last year rereading Throne of Glass ready for Kingdom of Ash. So this is one of my favourite book series so far. Can't say for sure because the last book hasn't been released yet, but this was one of my favourite books, or my favourite book actually, of 2017. And this is an adult fantasy series, or a new adult fantasy series, but this follows Mia Corvia, whose father was murdered and mother was taken away. They tried to take Mia as well, but she ran off and she got taken in by an old man who used to be an assassin. I think he used to be an assassin. He's very close to the local assassins anyway, and she has been training her entire life to become an assassin to then go and kill the people responsible for the breakup of her family. This is set in an ancient Rome inspired setting. I absolutely love it. It's smutty, it's gory. Mia is bloodthirsty and unapologetic. She is 100% a Slytherin, and I absolutely love her, and I'm really excited to reread this series. While we're on fantasy, I would also like to read Mah Amanda by Thomas Taylor. This is a middle grade book. It was Waterstone's book of the month for May, and Gav sent me a copy, and I'm reading a middle grade book at the minute. I'm reading Howl's Moving Castle. I've also started rereading Harry Potter this year, and I just really love middle grade fantasy at the minute. So while Gav sent this this to me, and while it's relatively topical with it just having been the children's book of the month, I would like to give this a try. This takes place in a sleepy little seaside town, probably similar to where I live, called Erie-on-Sea. I don't know much about it apart from that. I know Cody also has this. Gav sent her a copy as well, and she said the synopsis sounded a lot like Nevermore, which is probably something that I should read while I'm in this mood as well. But I'm just looking forward to some light fantasy and whimsy, and I think that this will deliver on that. Also sent to me by Gav, we have another light fantasy, and that is Arrowheart by Rebecca Skye. Rebecca Skye is a Wattpad author, I believe, which I don't think I've really read any Wattpad authors and known that. Sarah J Maas was originally a Wattpad author, but by the time I was into her, she was like well into writing traditionally published books. But this is Rebecca Skye's debut novel, and I believe that this is a young adult contemporary with fantastical elements, and this follows a main character who is descended from the gods, and she has a curse or an ability that makes any boy that she kisses fall in love with her. The problem is that she doesn't want this ability. She thinks that it's terrible, and I believe that she starts to get feelings for a guy, but she doesn't want to do anything about it because she doesn't want to curse him and sort of take away his free will and his own free will to be with her. Next up, we have a few books with sci-fi elements. The first one is Orange the Complete Collection Volume 1 by Ichigo Takano. This is one that I will 100% read. This is on my Ghibliathon TBR. This is the week of Ghibliathon when I am posting this video, and hopefully I will be starting it tonight if all goes to plan. We'll see how much time I have later this evening. But this is a contemporary at its core with science fiction elements. So I believe this follows a young girl who is in high school, and she receives a letter from herself from 10 years in the future. This letter says that a lot of things are going to happen. Our main character doesn't really believe in any of that, but some of these smaller things on the letter do start to come true, and so she starts to take it seriously. But one of the things that is included in this letter is that if she cannot do something about it, one of her classmates will have killed himself by the time we get to the 10 year in the future main character. I'm really bad at explaining this, so I'm hoping to read this very soon. I have been loving manga recently, and it was something that I was never interested in. I never wanted to read manga, but you got me, guys. You've got me hooked on the manga, and this will be the first of more contemporary manga that I've read. I've heard great things about it. I've also heard that it's sad and it contains trigger warnings such as suicide, depression, etc. So I'm definitely very excited to get to this one, and you can rest assured that I will definitely complete it. For another one that I think is going to be very contemporary based with science fiction elements is The Next Together by Lauren James. This has been on my radar for approximately 5 years, and my best friend did an unhaul not long ago. He was unhauling this, and I finally got my hands on it, so I'm very excited about this. But this is a romance story between two people who are destined to suffer the same fate over and over again. So I believe this follows two people who fall in love, and then something happens that tragically rips them apart, and then they are reincarnated into another life where it happens again, and this cycle just keeps repeating. And I believe that the aim of this series, it's at least a duology, is for them to be able to break this cycle so that they can actually be together properly. This next one is fully sci-fi, and it's another one that I'm very confident that I will be getting to. I think this is going to make its way onto a July TBR, and I know all you guys are excited, but that is Illuminate by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. You guys have heard me say time and time again that the reason I haven't read this is because I think I'm going to enjoy it, and that is still true. I keep putting it onto TBRs, but I put it onto really long ones like my Earl's TBR. Right at the end, I never read it. So I believe Illuminate follows a boy and a girl who have just broken up, and they're feeling very angsty about this when a corporation, I think it's a corporation, comes to blow up the planet that they live on, and both of them escape but in different ways, and it is about them trying to figure out what happened, and also like the angsty romance elements. I love angsty romance, I love sci-fi, I assumedly love mixed media. I mean, I haven't read too much mixed media, and I love J. Kristoff, so I think this is going to be a winner for me. I don't want to promise you I'm going to read it in July, but I'm 90% sure that this will definitely be read, not put on a TBR and not read. 90% sure this will definitely be read in July. It also kind of matches my sweater. So aside from Ashley, this book also inspired this TBR, and that is Summer Days and Summer Nights, edited by Stephanie Perkins. This one I've already started. I'm this far into it, and doing that completely ruined my white balance, but I'm 2 stories into this one. This is a collection of 12 summer romances by popular young adult authors, and they are all surrounding summer. I don't know if I just said summer romances. I probably did. There are quite a few of these anthologies. There's Valentine's Day one, ones, there's a Halloween one now, there's a Christmas one that I own, there's this summer one, and I kind of have always wanted to read them in the seasons that they're relevant for no real reason. It's just something I want to do. I don't even like short stories that much, but this is on my Ghibliathon TBR. I have already started it. I've kind of put it in there because I thought I have to do this. Like, I own these now. I've not had them for very long, but I own them, and I've always said that I wanted to do this, and now I have no excuses. The two that I've read so far I enjoyed. I rated the first one 4 stars and the second one 3 stars. There's probably going to be some in here that I don't like at all, but that is the thing with anthologies. This is finally going to get read. I was reading this last night when the wind was howling and the rain was pouring down, so not much of a summer atmosphere, which is a shame, but I'm definitely excited about continuing with this one, especially as it is giving me a chance to sample some authors that are kind of on my radar that I'm not necessarily interested in or not sure about, and I'm getting to sample their writing styles, which is really interesting and may influence some of the books that I pick up in the future. So for the last 3, we are now on to full-on contemporary. The first one being Burn for Burn by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. I think this is on my list of these books will self-destruct in 12 months, is that what I called it? Which is a list of books that I will unhaul if I haven't read them in a year. I don't think I've read any yet, and I did that video in like February? March, so oops. So I definitely need to read this one. I have read the entire trilogy now for To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I have another book by Siobhan Vivian that would also kind of be a good summer book that I haven't read yet. So I don't really know too much what this is about, but the reason that I put it in that other video is because I didn't love the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. All I know about this is that it is a contemporary about a group of girls, but it is definitely something that I would enjoy reading over the summer, even if I don't actually end up liking the book. One that I feel like I've had for forever, but I think I only picked it up last February, so over a year now, but that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I read Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, which we all know is very problematic. I enjoyed the story of it, and I kind of attributed the problems in it to the fact that it was set in the 80s. There is like a debate about whether it's like really problematic or whether it's a reflection of the times, but I did enjoy Rainbow Rowell's writing and the storyline of Eleanor and Park, so I wanted to pick up more from her. This would probably not be my first choice of her books that I really desperately want to read. I really want to read Landline, but this is the only one that I own physically. I believe that this follows twins, or one twin in particular, and I think that they've both gone off to college, and one of them has decided that she doesn't want to be so attached to her sister anymore, the one that isn't the main character, and that she wants to experience college life, find her own identity and party, meet boys, etc. And the other one is feeling quite lost without her sister, and she delves into a world of fan fiction. I think that she's been writing fan fiction for a while, but she delves even deeper into this world at the risk of not experiencing things in real life because she's kind of hiding from her problems and really wrapped up in this fan fiction world. Carry On doesn't appeal to me, and I know that the fan fiction in this is fan fiction for Carry On, which is kind of fan fiction for Harry Potter, and it seems like a whole paradox to me. But if I enjoy this, I will obviously sample Kath's fan fiction for Carry On, and then I will decide if I want to read Carry On or not, but I don't know how I'm gonna like this one. And then the last one, my opinion on this I would say is controversial, but based on things that other people have been saying, I don't necessarily think that it is anymore. But this is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I picked this up once again when my best friend Ryan unhauled a ton of books. He loves Adam Silvera and he loves Becky Albertalli. Now, I've read one book by Adam Silvera and I liked it. I've read everything that Becky Albertalli has wrote, and to be honest, in my own personal opinion, I think that her books are okay and her characters are extremely annoying. So I was very trepidatious about this book, but Ryan loves them and he ended up getting tons of pre-order incentives and things and special editions. So he ended up with like 1 million copies of this book. He gave one to me. I don't intend to keep this book. Like with all of Becky Albertalli's books that I've read, I think I will read it and I'll just unhaul it, especially because Ryan, who is a hardcore stan of both of these authors, doesn't really like this book, and a lot of other people have said that it is average at best. So I'm going into this with very low expectations, so it's probably going to be a positive review coming from this because I think so little of it right now. The storyline of this actually seems pretty cute. It is about 2 boys. They meet at a post office when one of them is posting off a box of his ex's belongings. They decide to go on a date, and I think things keep getting in the way, and they end up asking themselves the question, what if it's us? Like, what if it isn't all of these extenuating circumstances? What if they are just not compatible, or the universe is trying to tell them not to bother and to go pursue other people? So the concept of this is probably the most most interesting concept of anything from Becky Albertalli that I've read, but sadly I don't think it's got great reviews. But I do want to read this because, like I said, I've read everything else by Becky Albertalli. I don't know why, because at this point I know that she's not really the author for me, but yeah, I will read this at some point. Summer is probably a great time. So those are, I was going to say all of the books that I plan to read in summer, but there will obviously be more when I'm doing my general TBRs. But those are some of the books that I'm hoping to squeeze into those TBRs throughout summer. Please let me know if you have read any of these and what your thoughts are. Also let me know if you think that summer is a good time to read these books. Like I said, I love reading in summer. That is pretty much how I spend all of my time in summer. When I'm not at work, I'm out in the garden with a book. So I gotta have myself a lot of reading material. But that is it from me today. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.